Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in all of Ohio sports. I spoke to someone in the Indians organization today and said, in my humble opinion, they should wait until September to decide what to do about this roster. I said you have 16 games head-to-head with Minnesota for the division title, and if not, there's still 2 AL wildcard positions still available. I was assured by the person that that's exactly the way the Tribe brass is thinking about it right now. I was also assured by another person around Major League Baseball that Jose-Ramirez will come around before this season is over and still put up big numbers as expected. That's the good news. The bad news is that person couldn't guarantee those same big numbers in the playoffs. Where have we seen this before? We've got the D-man Dennis-Manoloff here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into our 23rd consecutive year, and of course, as seen exclusively on cleveland.com. The D-man is fired up, and anytime the D-man is fired up, that's okay with me. What are you fired up about?
Okay. All right. Thanks. I was just confirming right then and there, Les, that I was talking to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
Springfield,
Brad
Mass.
Stevens' bust is still on. He will be a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame at some point. They have not canceled plans to have him in the hall.
But he hasn't won anything.
The most overrated coach in NBA history, and he's only coached 6 years. 0 finals. Couldn't even get out of the conference semis yesterday.
Do you think Boston is ready to unload him?
Stevens, no. Yeah. They're ready to unload Irving.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you're as great as everybody told me Brad Stevens was, because remember last year when the Celtics take the 3-2 lead on the Cavs in the conference, Auerbach can learn from, Auerbach, God rest his soul. Auerbach could probably learn, and he's not even with us anymore. Popovich could learn from Brad Stevens. He's the most amazing coach. Hey, Les, have you ever seen Brad Stevens' inbound plays? They're the most incredible things you've ever seen.
Better than anybody you can think of?
He had the Bucks so turned around in the last 4 games of the Eastern Conference semifinals, they could only beat the Celtics by 50 instead of 55.
You can't get yourself beat by that kind of points.
What a humiliation. And there's no tears shed about anything that happens bad to the Celtics, okay?
And it happens on top of, you talk about rest of the soul, and John Havlicek passes away, and that's what they're left with. The guy who hustled more than anybody, maybe in the history of the game, in talking about Havlicek. And that's what they leave. That's what the Boston Celtics have turned into.
Les, I know that we have Indians to talk about, but last night's NBA developments were so enormous that you just have to talk about them now, in my opinion.
All right, let's start. All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, start with the early game of the two, Celtics-Bucks.
Celtics get blown out by the Bucks. Never a doubt in that game.
Game 1. Boston destroys the Bucks in Milwaukee, thinks they're going to roll right through it. Irving thinks it's going to be his, another one of his great series.
Parties.
He takes over, and he can't make anything, okay? Bucks win the next 4 games. Giannis is dominant. Budenholzer coaches circles around Stevens. Now, you not only have questions about, Irving, Stevens will stay. But you have questions about Irving. I think the question is answered. I don't think he's back. That's not any revelatory statement.
And he won't want to be back. He won't want to be back.
I think he's played his last game for the Celtics. He's happy to leave. And believe me, his now former teammates, or when he declines the Celtics option, they will be ecstatic that Irving's out of the building.
All right.
2-year colossal failed experiment. And you ask, what does that have to do with Cleveland? Well, number one, of course, Irving is inextricably linked to the championship in 2016. We never take that away from him, but you can criticize Irving when it goes south for him in the other place. that he said, remember, so much better than Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's a real sports town. Remember he told us that?
He did.
He didn't have to burn the Cleveland Bridge if he didn't want to.
Right.
But he did. Okay?
It was low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit. So we have a right in this town to criticize Kyrie now while still cherishing what he did in 16. That doesn't they're not mutually they can be mutually exclusive. They don't have to be tied together.
I was on 92.3 The Fan a couple of days ago, and it was brought up that you got to put up a statue for LeBron and of course Kyrie. I don't think it's and of course Kyrie. I know he got the biggest shot, maybe the biggest shot in history. You don't put up. You didn't put up a statue for Steve Kerr or Paxson in Chicago.
I agree with you. I don't think Kyrie played long enough. And yes, the shot was incredibly important. But if there's going to be a statue of a Cav, it's got to be LeBron and not Kyrie.
All right, now let's move to Kevin Durant.
Well, yeah, but let me say one other thing though before we get to Durant. The Celtics without Irving go back to being a team that Brad Stevens can presumably thrive with. The little engine that doesn't have a star. That's my point about Stevens.
Right now in the East, Philadelphia is better, Milwaukee is better. Who else is better?
Toronto.
Toronto.
Philadelphia is not showing it right now against Toronto, but clearly Toronto and Milwaukee are better. Now, on to the next game, which was Lakers-Rockets.
Not Lakers.
Excuse me, Warriors-Rockets, because LeBron's and the Lakers are in dysfunction. Warriors-Rockets, Game 5. Durant goes down with what looked like it could be an Achilles.
Yeah.
It's turned out that it's a calf strain. They've confirmed not an Achilles tear. Good for Durant. Obviously good for the Warriors.
Well, good for him, except even if he doesn't lose any games, he still has one more to play to get to the finals. And then he's got 4 out of 7 there, and then he's got 4 out of 7s in the finals. That thing's going to wear him. If it's not a tear, it still isn't going to be very pretty.
Yeah, we don't know what his status is going forward. Almost assuredly, I think he's going to miss Game 6 in Houston. Don't know about Game 7. But here's the point that I was making to Brian before you had arrived from your other engagement that you were dealing with. I talked to Brian and I said, the Rockets had the series on a silver platter when Durant went down.
Right.
The basketball gods had gifted the Rockets this series. Win this game with him out and take it home and win it in 6.
It's sort of like Draymond Green getting suspended against the Cavaliers.
Yes, in some respects, yes. And you were tied going into the fourth quarter. You're the Rockets. What in the world happened to James Harden in the fourth quarter?
No idea.
Another disappearing act when the money is on the line.
He'll
Harden is a wonderful player, but he's now has a history of shrinking when the real money is on the table.
Right.
Okay? Here was another opportunity. I think the stat was he took one shot, or the reality was he took one shot in the final 8 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Well, is that his teammates not trusting him, or is that himself not wanting to grab it when he could?
It's the latter, Les. I watched the game, as did many, many people. He had plenty of opportunities to shoot and at least create a shot or force a shot, like he always does.
Like he does in regular season.
But for some reason, he deferred. And after the game, they're asking him, where were you the final 8 minutes? Oh, I was making the right basketball play. Last time I checked, James, the right basketball play for the Houston Rockets
with you on the team.
With you on the team is the ball's in your hands and the ball's being shot by you.
All right, quickly, LeBron James.
Well, LeBron is in flux now because T. Lue says no. Everything in the NBA has a Cleveland connection running through it. We know that. T. Lue, negotiations with the Lakers fall apart. They try to lowball Lue with a 3-year deal. He wants a 5. They want to put coaches on his staff. He knows better than that because how did he usurp David Blatt?
Sure.
He was put on his staff, okay? So now you have LeBron presumably going, wait a minute, why am I not being coached by Ty Lue this morning, okay? Lue's presumably out of there. To which I say, by the way, the fans are planning a protest outside of Staples tomorrow.
Oh, that'll work.
We'll see how many people show up. But there's a lot of dysfunction in Lakerland, to which I say, Lakers, you can solve your problems. LeBron, you can solve your problem if you do the following. Number one, LeBron says to T. Lou, hang on, just hold on a few weeks, okay? Don't do anything.
A few weeks may turn into 5 years.
Well, yeah, exactly. Don't do anything rash. Don't go out of the country. Just be at the ready. And number two, wait for Kyrie to decline his option, and then LeBron makes Kyrie his number one recruit.
Could you imagine that happening? LeBron and Kyrie back together
and the
again?
band is back together again when T. Lou is coaching LeBron and Kyrie as L.A. Lakers.
By the way, speaking of the Cavs, and when is the lottery assignment? That's Tuesday, right?
Is it? I thought it was Wednesday.
Oh, maybe it's Wednesday. I don't like them sending Nick Gilbert there. I'll tell you why.
Why?
I'll tell you why.
What's not to like?
Oh, of course, no, it's not to like, and God bless them and all that. However, if they don't win the lottery, if they don't get Williamson, now you got to, whoever you take second or third, you say, well, we really didn't want you much. We wanted Zion.
But why would that be on Nick Gilbert?
No, it's on Dan Gilbert, actually, that you really, at the second or third pick, they'll say, well, you didn't really want me. You sent your son to go get Zion.
Somehow I think the second or third pick would get over that real fast.
As soon as the first check comes in.
I'm not
By the way,
worried about
Brian has reported that it is Tuesday.
Okay.
It is Tuesday.
My fault.
Oh, I got my first one right today. 216-575-0403. The Indians took a while because of the rain. They win a game today. And D-Man, you know how Herb Score used to say, you never know what you're going to see at a baseball game. You may see something for the first time. I'm about to say something that you're only going to hear once. The Indians were led by Jordan-Luplow with 2 solo home runs. I never thought I'd hear or say that.
How about this, though? He has two two-run homer games.
Right.
Or no, two homer games in the last 3 months. Because I saw the graphic. He had one last September again with the Pirates.
Right.
So that's kind of amazing. But I saw, you were there.
Yeah.
I saw the second one was just a monster shot to center.
By the way, Carrasco would have been untouched today. He had it going. 216-575-0403. We will talk about that and more when we get back. More Sports and Les Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. And also you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Back in a moment with the D-Man. He's upset. That's always good. More Sports and Les Levine continues on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, here we go. Birthdays for today. You've got Jack B. Nimble. That's a good one for quickies, I think, 1947. Calvin Murphy, one of the greatest foul shooters ever. Elmore Smith, who I believe is still in Cleveland, right?
Big E.
I think he still lives here. Tony Gwynn, one of the greatest hitters. Aaron Harang and Prince Fielder, all born on the 9th of May. 216-575-0403. Dennis-Manoloff is here.
You know, it's interesting. Tony Gwynn in today's day would not survive.
Bad launch angle.
Well, not only that, his exit velo wasn't particularly good. What he and Rod Carew were masters at was just spraying the ball
Slapping
all
the ball
over the
around.
place. They knew how to get on base, so they would be an interesting fit, let's say, in today's
Rod
game.
Carew was one of my favorite players.
Yeah, they were magicians with the bat.
Unbelievable.
But they didn't rely on launch angle and bat
All right,
velo.
well, Jordan-Luplow had a launch angle twice today at Progressive Field. Game shortened, 5 innings total. Here's the box score now.
Loopy.
5-9-0 for the Indians, 0-2-1 for the Chicago White Sox, who took the first 2 games of the series, and then the Indians came back to win the last 2. Last night, big one by Hosey. You call him Hosey.
Hosey. Brian, keep that graphic up, please. I want all viewers, our worldwide viewers, take a picture of that box score. You might never see anything like this again. Cookie Carrasco, yes, but Loopy Luplow with the 2 bombs. And don't forget underneath, Roberto Perez with, with 2 hits.
By the way,
when are you going to see that again?
you know, you also have favoritism even at all over the place. The Lindor hit a fly ball to right field. The right fielder fell over, fell down, and they called it a double. But it was, I believe it was Perez who hit a bullet that jumped over the third baseman's glove. They called it an error, no RBI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, when was that?
Maybe the 4th.
Okay.
Maybe. 216-575-0403. All right, let's look at the standings now and see what that does as far as the Indians are concerned in Minnesota. Minnesota still hanging in. They're getting good hitting.
More than hanging in.
Yeah, more than hanging in. They're 23-12. The Indians, with their win, go 4 games over the 500 mark at 20-16, 3.5 games behind, pending Minnesota tonight. Detroit 6.5 games back at 2 games under the 500 mark. Chicago 4 under 500, 7.5 back, and Kansas City doing about what Kansas City is supposed to do, 11.5 back at this juncture.
I mean, I think the Twins are legit. And, okay, here's the upcoming
Well, here's what happens this weekend. Indians have a 5-hour flight now after the rain out, or the rain-shortened game. Indians travel to Oakland for a 3-game series. The Twins will host the Tigers for 4, doubleheader on Saturday. The White Sox travel to Toronto. That's a short flight from here. And then the Royals will host Philadelphia, 3-game series, interleague play right there. So there you have it. Facebook question of the day. We have a pretty good Facebook question of the day. Not that we don't always have it, but as the first quarter of the season starting to wrap up, who do you now think is going to win the AL Central? D-Man, what do you think?
I still say the Indians, but it's pretty clear to me the Twins will be there right until the end.
Carmen Tolino says any hope of the Indians had of eking out enough 2-1 wins went down the drain when Clevenger and Kluber went down with long-term injuries. Pete Shane says the Tribe still owns the number 2 wild card spot, 4 games back in the Central, and plenty of baseball to play until the Twins eliminate us. I'm going with the Tribe. In Tito we trust. Andy Mees, sorry to say, it's Minnesota's to lose. The Indians are banking too much on their stud pitching rotation to try to win games 1-0, 2-1. You can't play or pitch that way. Well, that's for sure. Then we have John Swid, I believe is the last name. It depends on which team shows up for the rest of the season, the AAA team or the MLB Tribe. If the Tribe doesn't hit and score runs, the best pitching in the world is not going to save it. They gave up 340-plus RBIs from last year's exodus of players, and it shows game after game. Gary Vimmer, right now with Minnesota, is the better team. The Dolans started to break the team up 1 year early, and they slammed the door. The only reason the ticket sales is because of the All-Star game. Ticket sales will tank next year, and the fire sale will begin. One thing that I didn't like at the time, and I don't like it now, is the Michael Brantley situation. And he might be the best hitter on, as good as Houston has been, he might be the best hitter on their team right now.
Yeah, it's painful. Even for Brantley, he's off to a tremendous start. You know what kind of a player he is, what kind of a hitter he is, the consummate pro. He's exactly what you want in your lineup. So consistent. And the numbers, this is what's problematic and why I don't blame Indians fans for having, some consternation. It's not like he signed a 4-year, $80 million deal.
No.
Okay? 2 years, I believe it was 32 guaranteed. He might have a couple million more in incentives. But that is a number that, you look at and you go, wait a minute, couldn't the Indians have afforded that? Now, knowing what they were doing in the offseason,
nothing.
They weren't going to bring him back.
No, but he's the one you would bring back.
Yeah, I mean, it's problematic to see him not only leave, but go to a team that you presumably need to get through to get to the World Series, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The team that just swept you last year in the Division Series.
When we come back, we're going to look at ESPN and their latest power rankings in the NFL, see where the Browns stand. In the meantime, we'll tell you about Northfield Park, which is your home for live and simulcast racing. Northfield Park, of course, catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday with the post time at 6 p.m. Visit Lady Luck's Clubhouse for your dining pleasure on Saturday evenings. The buffet that features the great dining pleasure, $15.95. Call 330-467-4101 for reservations. Northfield Park opens early every day for simulcast action for the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all over the world. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Dennis-Manoloff and I return in a moment. We are seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature Stone right here in Northeast Ohio, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems: unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and always affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. Hey, D-Man, how come some quickies are good? When they're good, they are very good, but when they're bad, they're even greater. Sometimes. 216-575-0403. Before we go to the power rankings from ESPN and the NFL, D-Man, you've got Zach Meisel tweeted out something after the 5-0 Indians win, which was called after 5 innings.
Yet another quality tweet from Zach. To ensure they complete the necessary 5 innings before the rain arrived, Carlos Carrasco told his teammates to stop throwing the ball around the infield after strikeouts.
Just get it to him?
For his hustle, Carrasco was awarded with the easiest complete game shutout of his career.
All right.
So
I thought players weren't supposed to know their stats and know the individual stuff.
Well, it's entirely possible Carrasco was just thinking about the game, thinking about the team win, trying to get 5 innings in. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that
he was
one.
unhittable today.
Now, I assume the rule is still in effect. Wasn't it the Faye Vincent rule? You can't have a no-hitter. I mean, he didn't have a no-hitter, but if he had, it wouldn't have counted.
No, it's got to go 9.
You have to go 9. And
How
even
about
if
Fires? Is it Fires from Oakland who got his second no-hitter?
yeah,
Did you see the catches, the 2 catches that were made?
Yes, Profar and then the center fielder who's just been brilliant this year with his arm especially. But, yeah, you have Fires with 2 and Homer Bailey with 2. They have combined, they have 4. That's 4 more than the total of Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine.
Those guys don't have one.
Figure that
as
out.
great as they were, they don't have one.
It's just, it's almost impossible to
There's
believe.
been 300 no-hitters.
300 no-hitters.
And there's some names on there you've never, even modern names, you've never even heard of.
When I was in college, Joe Cowley of the White Sox threw a no-hitter, and I think he walked 7. And it was like it would seem like there were 2 runners on every inning. And then and by the 8th inning, it's like, guess what? Joe Cowley's working on a no-hitter.
I should
Are
know
you
this.
serious?
I should know this. The Minnesota Twins left-hander who pitched one against the Indians, or was it Angel? Who was it that pitched one and gave up a run early?
Against the Indians. Oh, Irvin Santana. I covered that game.
Okay,
that was a getaway game at noon.
Okay, Santana's pitching that game.
Yes.
And somebody very prominent walked in the top of the first inning, or top of the second inning, looked at the scoreboard, saw a run on there by, was it Minnesota or
the Angels.
Angels.
They had scored. Yeah.
So when the game progressed and they jumped all over him when he gets through 9 innings, this person, a prominent person, said, why are they jumping on him? He didn't know there was a no-hitter because he saw 1 run on the board, so he just assumed there was some hits.
That was Panic City for me because, because I'm covering the game, and even though it's noon, you have deadlines, as it were, no matter what, as soon as the game's over.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm looking there going, is he going to throw a no-hitter? This is crazy. And he did. I remember Sosha was the manager of the Angels, of course, and we talked to him afterwards. But, yeah.
It's just when you have a run scored, it doesn't seem like a no-hitter.
True.
But it is.
But it's legit, yeah.
216-575-0403. ESPN's latest power rankings are in. Let's see if you agree with their ratings, and there you have it right there. They've got Kansas City number 1. How about that? Followed by New Orleans and the Rams and New England, and Indianapolis is 5th. And the Browns have moved down, at least in comparison to some other rankings that we've seen. They are in the 15th spot. They've got company from the AFC North. Pittsburgh is 16 and Baltimore is 17.
I'm sure the Steelers and Ravens find that quite amusing. Number 1. That they're that low. Number 2, they're underneath the Browns,
right.
Especially the Ravens, who last time I checked are defending division champions with a stud rookie quarterback.
Right.
Now, we think we know how it's going to turn out for Lamar, and that if he doesn't learn how to pass better, it's not going to go well. But as of right now, he's a dynamic player on their team.
Well, but the defensive coordinators all over the league have been working for 3 months now on how to stop him.
Okay, but who's to say that Baker-Mayfield might not take a step back?
I would agree with that.
We don't want him to. We think it's going to be nothing but this kind of growth, but you never know.
No, I would agree with that, and that's something, you talk about sophomore jinxes. They're not sophomore jinxes. There are other teams that are preparing differently for you.
I'll say this, though, Les. I don't care how much optimism there is around the Browns. That is to say, I don't want to hear any more of these national types. Oh, you need to tamp down your enthusiasm over there in Cleveland.
No, you don't.
Yeah, why can't you? What are
Have they been following us since 1999?
What are off seasons for? Just to sit there and go, we're going to wait till the next season starts so we can get our brains kicked in.
And by the way, if we didn't have that enthusiasm, you guys wouldn't have jobs.
Exactly. I mean, let the fans be excited. Let players talk a little junk. I know the coaching staff doesn't want, that's their job. It's Freddie Kitch's job to tell his players back off a little bit on the bravado. But when it does come out, I don't mind.
Yeah, but
that's what makes it fun.
Kitchens has one response to Greedy Williams and a different one to Odell Beckham.
Of course.
Which you have to do.
Of course.
One's a veteran, one's the rookie.
I said this at the night of the draft, after the quote came out, after we heard the quote. I'd rather have Greedy Williams say something outlandish like that than, I
don't know. I'll try our best and see what happens.
I'm going to do my best, and hopefully we can win some games.
All right. We were talking today in our pre-show meeting.
Yes, sir.
That the Browns have a lot of different weapons. So you wonder who the defensive coordinators of the other team are going to concentrate on, and at the same time, who are the Browns' offensive people going to give the bulk of the work to? So what do you think?
Well, that's why Freddie Kitchens and Monken are going to get paid the big bucks. You have 5 linemen and a quarterback. That's 6. You can only put 11 out there. So you have 5 players who can do your damage outside your quarterback each play. And how they're going to do this is fascinating. But as of right now, I see 7 legitimate players to do it.
Hold on to that.
Okay.
And when we get back, we will discuss just that. Also, you can check us out at the voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can call anytime, 216-200-6650, and leave a message for us, and we'll get to it if it's not too long. It's the voicemail of Truth and Reason, more sports and less Levine. We'll come back. We'll talk about finding the right offensive balance and much more. We'll take a look at this date in sports history. More Sports and Less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
All right, here we go. Today in sports history, May 9th, 1995. Remember this? The Indians tie a record when they record 8 runs before anybody was out in the first inning, and they defeat the Minnesota Twins by a score of 10-0. Wow. That, to me, that was great, but was really great is the Seattle game when they came from behind in, the 6th inning, and I must admit I left that game when the Indians were down early.
Well, you're talking about the 14-1 becomes 15-14, or 14-3 becomes 15-14.
It was on ESPN Sunday night.
Wasn't that 2001?
It was the Eddie Taubensee, I think, carried Lofton around, I think.
I thought that was...
The years and the games run together a little bit. All right, so going back to all the different weapons that the Browns have, who would you like to see stand out when you're done with the season and you look back at it? Who is the offensive performer that they gave the ball to?
Well, outside of Mayfield, you've got to hope, if you're the Browns, I think in order to go where you want to go, Beckham has to play basically every game, and he has to put up really good numbers. He's got to be a 1,400-yard at least guy.
Now let's keep in mind here's a guy in Odell Beckham's played 5 years in the league, has only played in 1 winning season. Does that bother you in any way?
No, because it doesn't bother me about Duke Johnson either, and I'm not comparing the two as players talent-wise. I'm simply saying that I think Duke Johnson will do just fine on a winner. He hasn't been on one. Same with Beckham. Beckham will do just fine on a winner.
In 2018, Beckham had 77 receptions, 1,052 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Landry, 81 catches and 4 touchdowns. And Hunt with 181 carries, 824 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And Nick-Chubb, here you see it there, 192 carries and 996 yards. He actually went over the 1,000 mark, then it came back.
I was going to say, how come quickie? Yeah. How come Nick-Chubb ran for 1,000 but ended with 996?
Yeah.
Because that big loss, was it the final drive?
Yep.
against the Ravens. Les, here's what I said before the break. I see 7 guys pre-Hunt returning.
Okay.
Callaway, I'm going to list them in order. Okay, in order. Beckham, Landry, Higgins, Callaway, your wideouts. Your running backs, Chubb and Johnson, and your tight end, Njoku.
And you're bringing Hunt. Oh, this is
then
pre-Hunt.
Hunt comes later.
Okay.
But those 7 guys, as of right now, I'm seeing, and of course there could be somebody popping in amongst that group or in addition to that group, but I see those 7 rotating in to 5 spots. Obviously, you don't think Beckham's going to be a rotational guy. He's going to be there every down, and probably Landry as well.
Correct.
Which means Callaway, Higgins, Njoku, Johnson are rotating 4 for 2.
Okay, not counting the
with
guy.
Chubb being pretty much an every down
Correct.
back.
Not counting Beckham here. Who is the beneficiary of Beckham being here?
The beneficiaries of Beckham being here.
And let's leave Baker-Mayfield out. I'm talking about
certainly
other skilled
Landry,
positions.
but he's already good.
Right.
I think it's pretty simple. It's Callaway and Higgins. As long as Callaway and Higgins are on the field with Beckham, what defense is going to worry about Callaway and Higgins? And,
I don't know.
And I'm not saying that to disparage Callaway and Higgins. I'm simply saying you can only point to so many guys before you.
And Callaway and Higgins, you also throw in Njoku and say, hey, you guys better be ready because there's going to be some openings for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm one of those guys coming off my rookie year, I'm saying I have a chance to be a big number guy this year, bigger than I deserve to be, probably.
I mean, certainly, if let's say in a 5, let's say a 1 tight end set where you have Njoku out there as the tight end.
Right.
Let's say you go 3 wide, 1 tight end, and 1 running back, and your tight end's Njoku, your running back's Chubb, and you have Beckham, Landry, and Higgins. The defense looks at that, and the last guy they're worried about is Higgins. Yeah. But guess what? I think Hollywood can play. I think he can. So if he just runs the route the way we know he's capable of, he should be open.
And don't drop the ball when it comes your way.
True. And when they go to 4 wide, one of those guys I mentioned, one of those receivers, or maybe Duke if he becomes a second slot guy in a certain package, they're going up against the 3rd and 4th corners of the other teams. That's a mismatch.
Yeah, a lot of weapons.
Right?
No question about it.
That's another thing Beckham takes away. He takes the first corner away from another guy.
Getting help on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, when we get back, we'll talk about Tyronn Lue and Kyrie Irving, any possibilities that way, although supposedly Ty wanted 5 years. They offered 3. That's kind of low ball. That's a slap in the face.
It's terrible. It's terrible, and I don't blame Lou for digging in.
Although he doesn't have a lot of options.
Except for the fact that he's still getting paid by Gilbert.
Right.
But there's got to be pride at some point, and Lou's got to say, I'm not signing a 3-year deal.
We'll check that out, find out if Tyronn Lue is the guy that LeBron-James wanted. We assume that that will happen. We're going to take a break and come on back. We've been telling you for the last couple of days about Sokolowski's University Inn and the Wente Family Estates Winery. That's coming up on Sunday, June 2nd. 3 p.m. is the reception time. For reservations for this, with all the great food and all the great wine tasting from Wente and Sokolowski's, they say, let's make history together, coming up on 100 years for both of those organizations. Call 216-771-8967. And that, of course, coming up on June 2nd. It's a Sunday. It's the wine tasting event, and it'll be great at Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll take a break, and we'll come on back in a moment. Dennis-Manoloff is with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Naturestone flooring. Naturestone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. Plus, Naturestone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Naturestone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line, a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
All right, let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history, May 9th, 1973. Les hits 29 foul shots in a row. Unfortunately, it was no longer basketball season, and it was done on an empty playground. Other than that, it was pretty impressive. Let's check out this week in review. 1964, second baseman Les-Levine and the Brush High infield combines for 11 RBIs and a 13-4 win over Lakewood. Al Feldman had 5, Bud Forsythe had 3, and John Coad also had 3. The infield combined for 11. All right, Les, unfortunately, this was a bad day in Indians history when Herb Score got hit in the eye, a line shot by Gil McDougall. This date in history, May 7th, Les listened to the Indians game on radio. Here's that Herb Score was hit in the eye. Les asked his father if Herb can go to the Hall of Fame right immediately at the end of the season. Wonder how that would have turned out. Herb Score as a you look at Herb Score's numbers. We'll get it in a minute. 1964, Brush second baseman Les-Levine and his infield now combined for 9 hits in a 7-1 win over Maple Heights. Feldman had 4, Forsythe had 3, and Cohout added 2 for the Arcs. Les was non-existent. You ever look at the numbers of Herb Score?
Yes, astonishing.
Wins 16 games his rookie year, wins 20 his second year, and now in the first month of his third year, that's when he got hit. He would have, as a lefty, Warren Spahn, 363 wins, the all-time lefty leader. You got to believe Herb would be chasing him, right?
And Les, one of his full minor league seasons, I don't know how many he had. It might have even only been one.
At Indianapolis.
It was insane. His one minor league season that I saw, that Indianapolis was just absurd. You talked to him a number of times over the years before he passed, of course. I did too, probably not as many as you. I don't ever recall Herb using that as an excuse.
Never did. And you want to say, come on, Herb. Of course it stopped you, but no. He was adamant. He was adamant. He was such a religious man that things happen for a purpose. Yeah. And never publicly that I know of did he ever say that did hurt. Although he did say he changed his motion because of the sight lines. And the change of motion is what hurt his arm and led to an arm injury. I remember he was traded to Chicago the day after or the day before Rocky Colavito. I don't remember. He went to Chicago, Rocky went to Detroit, and Herb, sometime in that season, threw a 2-hitter against the Indians.
Wow. Total pro when you're talking to him and in the booth with Hammy. Hammy, he was with, who was it before Hammy, but he was one of those old school.
There was Steve Lamar for a while. Okay. There was Paul Olden for a while.
I mean, he's an old school analyst. Yeah. He analyzed the game. He wasn't into the hijinks and all the goofy stuff. And you never heard him groaning and yelling. No. When the Indians.
How about the
did
biggest
something?
call he had in Baltimore? And the Indians. It was Fernandez who hit the home run right in the top of the inning.
Yes.
And he goes, and the Indians are going to the World Series. And he realized that it was a little early. And he goes, maybe.
Yeah, I was covering that game from the Camden Yards lunchroom, the media dining room, because of overflow, no room, and I'm watching it on TV, so I didn't hear Herb's call, but yes, that was funny.
All right, you were talking about Kyrie Irving and his struggles in the postseason this time. He certainly didn't have any with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but here you go, this last 4 postseason games, averaging 19 points a game. 25 of 53 from the field, that's just 30%. 5 of 27, that's 19%. And wow, that's just not good. and the Celtics lost by averages of 16.3 a game.
I'll say this. Thank you that at least that came now as opposed to, can you imagine any one of those games happening in 5, 6, or 7 in 2016 in the NBA Finals? The Cavs are toast.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, if we don't have Kyrie playing at that kind of at a high level, so very disappointing by Kyrie and the Celtics.
Let's jump back because we don't care about them now. Let's jump back. I think everybody became a non-Celtic fan.
Yes.
Right? So now, Tyronn Lue, you still think that...
Right over your shoulder.
Yeah.
T-Lue, keeping an eye on Les.
Do you think that as quickly, if Magic Johnson quit as abruptly as LeBron James says he did,
yes,
do you think immediately he goes to Gene Buss or whoever else he would go to and just say, you got to go get Kyrie? I mean, you got to go get Ty Lue?
Who, LeBron? Did LeBron say that?
I'm asking you if you think that's how it came down.
I mean, it's possible that LeBron was consulted on this, and some people snicker, of course he was, of course he was. I'm not so sure on this one because if he was clearly calling the shots, Lue would be under a 5-year contract coaching the Lakers now.
Instead of the 3 that was supposedly
offered. And he wouldn't be able to name his own staff, and he wouldn't have guys put on his staff to replace him, presumably, when he gets off to a bad start. So I don't know that LeBron is calling the shots in this case. What I am saying, though, is if LeBron so chooses, he could, I would think, have a sit-down with Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka and say, listen, I came here for 4 years. We're 1 season in. It was a disaster, but we still have 3 with me to go. Rather than trade me, why don't we just do this? Come to your senses, sign Lue to a respectable deal commensurate with his championship credentials, and I'll recruit Kyrie to come here, and let's do Cavaliers West.
Do you think the three-year deal and the coach's situation was their way of saying, take it or leave it, pretty much?
Yeah, and it was also saying we don't want to go much past LeBron's contract.
Right.
Because we really don't want Ty Lue coaching this team after LeBron leaves. Okay?
Well, do you see LeBron leaving before he thinks he's going to be leaving? You think he's going to get traded here?
I don't know that you trade him at this point. I mean, why? I mean, what are you going to get back for him?
No, you're not going to get LeBron James back.
And he's going to kick up a star. What was the terms of his deal? Did he have a no trade in there or not?
No, he doesn't have a no trade.
He waived that.
He can be traded.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think LeBron is remaining with the Lakers. I think cooler heads will prevail with T. Lue. Now, for all I know, it's happening right now that they're signing Jason Kidd or something.
Right.
But I would like to think cooler heads prevail on the T. Lue front, and LeBron talks some senses into the Pelinka Buss combination, and I guess now Rambis, the Rambis
wife,
family.
Apparently, yeah.
But listen, you had to know. Here's the thing, Les. If you're the Lakers, you had to know when you got LeBron James to come to your place and come to your franchise, you had to know it was going to come with a lot of strings.
Absolutely. Now,
don't act surprised.
Here's the thing I don't understand about LeBron. We know that his legacy is important to him, right?
Yes.
And I understand many of the reasons why he went to Los Angeles, Hollywood, and all that stuff. But what he also did is he went to a franchise where he will never be even in the top 5. If you're putting together the Lakers all-time team, you don't have LeBron James. I don't care what he does in the next couple of years. He's not going to overcome Jerry West, Abdul-Jabbar, you name it, Magic Johnson, whoever else is on that top 5, right? Jerry West. How do you overcome those guys?
Let me say what I mentioned when he first signed with the Lakers. I believe he simply was fulfilling a childhood dream to play for the Lakers.
Maybe.
That the legacy, yes, it's important to him, but he felt like his legacy had been cemented with what he had already done.
Not in Los Angeles.
Well, no, but I don't think he had to worry about the Los Angeles Lakers legacy. He's thinking about, what is my basketball legacy? I am going to be mentioned as one of the greatest players of all time.
No, he was going to do that anyway.
Okay?
He and Jordan was the argument.
Oh, right. So what he's saying is, how much better can I get, especially when I've lost a bunch of finals by now, even before I go to Los Angeles. So I'm never going to be 6-0 in the finals. So why not just go to LA, fulfill your childhood dream? If you win a title, great. If you don't, oh well. You got all that stuff going on off the court. So I don't think he's as worried about it as maybe we think.
Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. You can catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday with the post time at 6 p.m. You can visit Lady Luck's Clubhouse for your dining pleasure, just $15.95. Northfield Park opens at noon every day for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. And free parking, free admission every day. That's at Northfield Park. Each week, the Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Brecksville High School to meet Christine Rutkowski. Christine takes part in multiple extracurricular activities and excels in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery is proud to salute Christine Rutkowski, this week's Shining Star.
She is just as busy as her laptop cover. Christine Rutkowski is a member of a lot of clubs, and she doesn't have an off button.
It's really fun because it's like I get to meet students throughout the state of Ohio through some of the events I do. I get to become really close with my peers in ways that other people can't because of what I do.
Let's go through her resume. First up, speech and debate, where the Brecksville senior won a state championship in declamation last month.
A lot of compliments I got from judges and critiques were just like, I could hear your voice. And I know this is someone else's speech, but I can tell that this is you and it's very authentic to who you are.
Rutkowski also won state honors in the Model UN program, and she's been a leader in youth and government for 3 years.
Last year, she was elected to be the lieutenant governor of the entire conference. So she was one of the major leaders down there at the state capitol this year in youth and government, and we were really proud of her because she's representing Brecksville Broadview Heights High School.
As a sophomore, she saw the mock trial team at a rally and immediately joined.
Christine came to me and she's like, I need to be in this club. They made such an impression on me, I need to be in this club. And so by her junior year, just a year later, she was already excelling.
Christine is a 4.0 student and the secretary of the National Honor Society.
She's the first to volunteer, even if there are jobs that maybe are less desirable jobs. She is happy to jump in, complete the task, and she does so with excellence.
She even started a club fair to promote all the activities at Brecksville.
She, by herself, came up with this idea, presented it to me in just meeting me, and then worked with our school administration to kind of coordinate the event. Now it's become an annual tradition at our school.
Christine is also the homecoming queen, an anchor on BTV, and so much more, but we're out of time.
I'm doing these things for this experience so I can have a good time and a brighter future.
If you know a student who is deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com. Go to the About section and then find the tab that's marked Supporting Education. Nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. The D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff, with us. More Sports and Les Levine on Facebook, Facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. We come to the quickie portion of the schedule. This is Cleveland Bill writing in today. He says, for some Cleveland fans, karma finally came to two who dissed Cleveland, LeBron and Kyrie. Today, White Sox pitchers paid for crossing the Jordan. Talking about Jordan-Luplow. 2 home runs today. In case you missed it, the Indians a winner today, 5-0. Lee sends in a quickie. He says, as a student of the game, I'm sure you remember Bobo Holloman pitched one in his first major league start. That's absolutely correct. Mr. Gullible, how come I'm friends with 25 letters in the alphabet, but one I don't know why? But he knows the other 25. How come some cows stumbled into a marijuana field and the stakes have never been higher?
I like that one.
These people do this. They must do it all day long. Cleveland Bill says, how come Captain Penny never got a raise or a promotion? Good point. How come the Cleveland Clinic couldn't save Terminal Tower? How come Jim Doney never took ordinary vacations? How come Mr. Jingling was asked to leave the Cleveland Public Library? That is so stupid. How come when Lance had an outbreak of boils, there was an immediate call to Lance-a-lot?
Wow.
Wow, that's all you can say at a time like this. All right, you ready? We got to grade this. Hold on before you do that. John Patrick, he gets grade. He sends in 2, and we grade him. I don't give him 10s because I don't want him to stop giving them. How come it's good to be under par in golf but bad to be under par in anything else? Can't argue with that. How come chickens in hell lay deviled eggs? They're getting a little too much for me. A little bit.
A little heavy.
What do you got there?
Well, we
There's
know
some good news
in
about
the midst of
this is what LeBron gives you when he gives you other bad stuff.
Yeah, for perspective purposes, in the midst of all of this storm in LA surrounding the Lakers, we know for a fact where LeBron was today. He was at the I Promise School in Akron receiving a check for $1 million from Dick's Sporting Goods to build a new gym at his I Promise School. So
he's an enigma.
I mean, and it says that, you know, one of the guys that I trust who took the photo, he said he knew about it, but he wasn't allowed to tell.
Yeah, they didn't promote it at all.
They didn't want random people showing up, presumably media, to ask him questions. I don't know if he took questions or not. I just see a picture on Twitter of LeBron with the check at the I Promise School from Dick's for $1 million.
This is what the Los Angeles fans don't get.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron is an interesting cat, and you use the word enigma. It's a fascinating, the passive-aggressive nature of him when he's playing during the season, the cryptic tweets and all that, and yet he has, you know, this big heart here where he doesn't want a lot of attention paid to his visit to Akron today. While all this is going on with T. Lue and everything in the Lakers, he's coming to Akron to take care of his I Promise School.
Yeah. And take care of him he does with $1 million. He's got his own gym at St. Vincent St. Mary's. Now I assume this is the LeBron-James Dick's Sporting Goods.
Listen,
in another venue.
Listen, LeBron. We know now you're in. Not that he couldn't be in town and catch us in L.A.
Right.
But we know you're around here. You're watching cleveland.com. Go back to L.A. when you're done with the I Promise situation, everything good there. Go back to L.A., tell Bus and Rambus's wife and Pelinka to settle down, get T. Lue back, make a responsible offer to T. Lue, and then bring Kyrie in. You got Cavaliers West, and let's see what happens.
Shape the whole team and see what happens. All right, the Indians, a little bit of a comeback. They lose the first 2 to the White Sox, then they come back and win 2. You got Jose-Ramirez driving in the walk-off homer, a 2-run homer last night. And then Jordan-Luplow came out of nowhere, hit 2 home runs, and Carrasco was just sensational today. Indians win 5-0 in a 5-inning rain-shortened game. They go to Oakland now. Do you feel better about them right now? Or is it the same?
Here's what we're going to see from the Indians this year is this. It's going to be up, down, up, down. Literally within series, too. Within series,
because you don't have 2 of your top 5 pitchers.
Well, and not only that, I think even with a fully healthy staff, you were going to have an erratic offense, an offense that was going to be feast or famine. So this team is going to be up and down. There'll be weeks where you're riding high as a Tribe fan and weeks where you're thinking they'll never win another game. But guess what? By September, they're going to be in it. This time, the Twins are going to be for real, in my opinion, because they do something that you really need to do in today's game. Hit home runs.
Yeah.
They not only hit, but hit for power. They have a lineup that can hit home runs, and when the weather heats up, they're going to heat up just like every other team.
All right, you got it. Dennis-Manoloff with us. Great job as always. You know your next date on WTAM tomorrow night. What time?
A couple hours ahead of the Oakland game.
Excellent. Yes. All right, Dennis-Manoloff. He'll be back here next Thursday.
Yes.
That'll do it for us. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you Monday night. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.